sit between two.
Here, come on over here, I'll do it. I think I will.
Is it okay just...
Joe, can you do this real quick? I know.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Joe Palo along with Kim Palo and Alan Mincy this morning, and this is a little, Alan Mincy Palo, little special edition this morning. We've kind of gone away from our regular Monday to Tennessee Valley This morning show that we had prepared. That will run in our replay at noon today, but we wanted to come to you on this special show today to kind of update you on what happened over the weekend. Of course, the tremendous storms that came through Friday night, kind of let you know where we are today, 3 days removed from those storms. We're going to be talking on the phone with several city and county officials and find out their take on what happened and, again, where we stand right now. But being put together so quickly, a lot of these folks were unable to be here. Obviously, they've got a lot on their plate today, but they are going to talk to us on the phone. So we're going to hopefully today, this morning, I should say, talk to Mayor Tom Rowland, Dewey Woody, the Bradley County Fire Department, Troy Spence, EMA Director, Dan Howell, Executive Assistant to Mayor Gary Davis, and Randy Bonner of the Bradley Baptist Association that is, of course, putting together the relief efforts and helping the folks in the area that were devastated by the storms. And I was talking over the weekend with Chief Woody, and you know, we're not going to try to put more emphasis on what happened Friday than what happened a year ago. Obviously, it was tremendous tragedy a year ago, and thank goodness Friday we didn't lose any lives, property damage, but no lives. And Chief Woody and I were talking over the weekend that, you know, you can talk to the folks that were devastated Friday, and you know, you could say to them the storms a year ago were worse than what we had Friday. Thank goodness it wasn't as bad Friday. But you try and explain that to them because they've lost everything as well. Obviously no lives, but we have a lot of property damage. And as Chief Woody said, devastation is devastation. It was just widespread a year ago, and it's more isolated this past Friday. But Alan, I know the United Way is going to play a big part in the relief efforts as well and getting folks back on their feet. As Chief Woody said, devastation is devastation.
I'll tell you what was great, Joe, is Friday afternoon, right after this first wave. I think they were talking at one time about 3 different waves coming in.
Right.
And of course the first was the big one, which was a change from April 27th, because the final one was the big one, and it occurred after dark, so that made it even more intense, I guess. But we had a meeting at the United Way. Salvation Army and the Bradley Baptist Association folks came over immediately after that. We had a meeting there. Some of the long-term recovery organization folks were there too, and we got the ball rolling right then. And really, I believe both of those groups, or all of those groups, had already started their own plans in action. It was just a matter of sort of coordinating plans, and it was great to see just that group get together and get ready to go out there and help as much as they could. And they've been working all weekend.
Yes, they
I
have.
think that anytime there's a big crisis or there's a big devastation of some sort, that before you're not really planned, you don't know what you would do. You always try to be planned, you always try to have those measures in place, but you never really know how that's going to work together. And last April, the county did really pull together, but it took a little bit of orchestrating to where this time those plans were in place. They knew what to do, and there hadn't been that much time. You know, it had only been 10 months. And so they were still even in the recovery mode. And so we were very fortunate in some areas to have a really good plan and a group of people already put together that could come together and quickly get on the move.
And one strange thing about Friday was we had the LTRO, the Long-Term Recovery Organization, and others have been working at building homes in our community. And we had a 3 p.m. dedication at one of the homes that had been completed by the Bradley Baptist Association and the LTRO, working in coordination with some others. And it was set for 3 o'clock, and it was like amazing that this would happen on that day. It shows you that you have to be prepared at any time.
Oh, yeah.
But it also shows you that we had gone so much forward from April 27th that we were dedicating a home that afternoon, which we did postpone, of course. But it shows you this community working together to restore the area from April 27th, but then being ready and prepared because of what happened for an instance that happened last Friday.
Right.
And working together, and there have been so many people out this weekend. The Red Cross, the Salvation Army, the Bradley Baptist Association, the Chain Gang guys, they've been out. I think they hit the ground running too. And
I hear there's lots of firewood out there, guys, available. Even though it's the end of the season, but there's plenty of firewood available.
There's plenty in my neighborhood. I helped my neighbor yesterday move a lot of brush to the road, and I don't know that we've heard anything from Cleveland Public Works or Bradley County as to brush collection.
Right.
But I do know that Janice Castile has mentioned, and she's city manager for Cleveland, to separate the items, the brush from the items when homes and buildings were damaged.
Right,
to keep
between
those separate.
the things, and also I think I don't know if it was her exactly that lifted the burn limit or whatever it is that you were allowed to burn in your yards to get some of the brush and the refuse away. I'm not really sure what you can burn and what you can't, though. Maybe you guys know, but I know that she did lift it.
Yeah.
Well, and as we said, the devastation is devastation. It doesn't really matter it's where it is, it's who it affects and how it affects each individual. The wonderful thing about what happened in our particular area is we didn't have any fatalities.
Right.
There were fatalities in every state surrounding us that these storms hit, and we fortunately had none. And I think a lot of that is the preparedness of our community, and it's amazing what a little bit of experience will do for you and how much we've learned in 10 months. And again, we're going to talk to some of these county and city officials and find out their take on what we did learn and how we move forward from here. I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's take a break, Jennifer. We're going to come back and we're going to call Mayor Rowland, and we're going to talk with Mayor Rowland and find out a little bit about what the city is doing as we move forward here. But we'll be back with a special edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning right after this. Please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Ford, board certified in anti-aging medicine and pain management. Have you had a recent decrease in energy, lack of sex drive, feel moody, grumpy, or sad? If so, you may have low testosterone and be a candidate for bioidentical hormone replacement. Listen to what 2 of my patients have to say.
Before I came to the Ford Clinic, I had to have a nap every day.
When I got off work, I'd lay around, really didn't want to do much and felt real lazy.
I've noticed since I had the testosterone implant that I could go a good 8 hours doing the things I enjoy doing.
I had it done, it took about 25-30 minutes, 5 months, and I'm doing good. My stomach, my muscles, they've completely changed. My fat level has dropped. Get to go out and run, exercise with my son. My muscles are just getting stronger.
If you'd like to change your life, please call me at Ford Center for Pain Management and Anti-Aging Medicine at 423-400-9115.
It's a very simple process and it's well worth it.
I'm Byron Winters with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. Contact me for all of your business insurance needs. From general liability to workers' comp, commercial auto, and business umbrellas, Landmark Insurance has you covered.
Hyperbaric Services of East Tennessee is now open in Cleveland. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is an incredible treatment, clinically tested for a variety of physical and neurologic conditions, including autism, migraine headaches, even sprains and injuries. It is a simple, safe, and painless process that raises a patient's oxygen level, providing an array of health benefits. So whether you're dealing with a weekend sports injury, chronic condition, or looking for anti-aging, you owe it to yourself to explore what Hyperbaric Services can do for you.
Hi, I'm Brittany Jackson. Join me every Wednesday night at 6:30 and midnight where we will highlight local sports, chat with coaches, and discover new tips every week. Only on In the Spotlight with Brittany Jackson.
Welcome back to this special edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Of course, Joe and Kim Palo with you along with Alan Mincy as we try to put together just what happened this past Friday and again where we go now from here. And we have on the phone right now Mayor Tom Rowland, Cleveland City Mayor Tom Rowland. And Mayor Rowland, thank you so much for being with us so early this morning.
Yes, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Alan. I think this is a tremendous compliment on our entire community. Sometimes tragedies bring out the best in people. We said that before. We even said that back in April last year when the more severe tornadoes. But I like what you said this morning. Alan may have said it, that you can't tell someone who's a victim that this wasn't severe because if you were a victim, it's just as severe as any of them.
Right.
But as Alan mentioned at the Emergency Operating Center, just moments after the first tornado hit Bradley County, the war room, as we call it, was full of those people who are always designated to be there. It was just a quick response. And we had every agency of government, city and county there. We had state there. TEMA was there. The Highway Patrol, I think we had about 9 or 10 extra troopers in our county at one time. We certainly appreciate the Department of Safety setting those folks in just to back up any needs that we might have and to help with traffic control. I'm not sure about volunteer energy, but I know Cleveland Utilities at midnight on Friday night had all the power restored but 4. One was not restored because the house owner had to have an electrician come in to do some internal repair work, and there's one business that wasn't restored, but it was an empty building actually, and then 2 others, and they're all restored now. And of all the folks who are getting out and working in the bad weather, I think we need to commend the folk with Cleveland Utilities and Volunteer Energy, because I watched them on those poles, the rain coming down, the wind coming down. It's not the best working conditions in the world, and they just did a great job working to get the power restored to people. Cell phones were out, as you know, most of the time Friday afternoon. One thing I discovered when my cell phone wasn't working, I got in my car and used my own star because it goes through satellite instead of a phone tower. So that made a big difference in communications, no problem with that. Brush and debris, you mentioned that. In the city, now I speak only for the city, it's the same as it always is. You can take your brush and debris to the curb. Now, it's important to separate your brush from debris. That would be something that comes from damage to your home or something like that. We pick that up, but separate it because the brush is chipped, and it's hard to chip something. It may have a nail or something in it or metal in it. So separate that, and I don't know how behind the schedule that Public Works will be, but be sure it's out on your regular pickup day. Now, as far as going into private property to pick up brush, I think, Alan, that's where the chain gang comes in. Jim Polier and some of the folks, Randy from the Baptist Association, if we just let them know, they'll come and take care of that and get it to the street for you. but I can't speak from the county, but the city will take care of the brush and debris as they always have. Up until Friday night till about 11 o'clock, we had, I'm not going to name everybody who was there from every agency, but they stayed right there, and you had people who could speak for every agency. When you needed response, you had folks there to do it. We did a flyover on Saturday morning, and while the damage assessed by Troy Spence is about $2.1 million, I think it's going to exceed that. We saw a lot of damage that had not been reported, and a lot of folks that may be out of town, and they won't report their damage, and we really can't get a great estimate until estimates are made by insurance adjusters or whoever. But it was just sad from the air to see folks' home just completely wiped away. And then, of course, not even wiped away heavy damage. It means those houses will have to be bulldozed down and taken out. It was amazing, too, that from the air we'd see a swath through the woods, and then it would jump, maybe take a house or two, and then jump, not hurt anything, and strike again. That example at Mount Olive Church of God. We saw a damaged swath from one side of the church. Church wasn't hurt, as far as I know, and then that damaged swath picked up on the other side of the church. And I wouldn't want Gary Sears to think that he created some kind of a miracle for that church. But anyway, it was just amazing, the response of people. I guess you could say that April 28th may have been a dress rehearsal for what happened on this past Friday. But we don't want dress rehearsals. We want to be prepared, but we don't want the actual thing to cause that preparedness. But yesterday, Representative Kevin Brooke, I think, and Deputy Governor Ramsey made a tour of some of the damaged areas and talked to some of the folks. Understand that in the state of Tennessee, you have to have, or any state, you have to have $8 million in damage for FEMA, the federal government, and the state for their part to kick in. And certainly, I think we reached that threshold. You want that much to be reported to help folks, but then you hate that much damage has been done. But to commend each individual agency would be difficult to do because everybody did their part and did their job. So just proud of our community. I'm so sad for those who lost their homes and lost their property, and we just want to help them any way they can. And there are folks out there doing that, Joe and Kim and Alan.
Yeah, and you know, what did we learn? I mean, I guess we learned a lot, but what did we learn from 10 months ago? We were very well prepared this time around. As you said, we had the dress rehearsal, but being in the war room, how different was it Friday than it was 10 months ago?
Well, I think one thing we definitely learned, back on April the 28th, we had so many people with good intentions, with chainsaws who would go to a neighborhood to help, and they were actually clogging the streets because you went in so many vehicles. And we learned about the second day after that event in April that we needed to be organized. So the Bradley Baptist Association put together teams, and you reported to them, and they would assign you to a certain neighborhood where there was a need, where folks had called in. And instead of everybody going in 6 or 7 vehicles, you went in one. And then you had somebody with each team who we called a semi-professional who knew how to start clearing debris. And that was something I think an important thing we learned. Yeah. So this time, we had it organized, and we didn't have the streets and traffic clogged up like we did back on April the 28th. That was one important thing. And then, of course, the Red Cross, Salvation Army, United Way to feed people. The shelter was set up immediately at St. Therese Church, and some other churches opened up theirs as well. A lot of people went to St. Therese, not that they had damage, but fearful of damage for shelter and to stay and be safe. I think at one time there were 40-something people. I don't know how many families that equated to, but we certainly thank St. Therese because they were set up at the very beginning with food and even a nurse at that location provided by the Bradley County Health Department. And all the other churches and neighborhood churches that set up opened the doors for folks to come in. It just gave you a feeling of security to know that you had a place to go that likely was not going to be blown away.
Right. Any questions?
I know. I think you handed it. Thank you, Tom, for getting up so early and being with us this morning. And I think that any time that's also an awareness with the people that so many people did show up at the shelter. Once a tragedy happens, like it did back in April, people are more willing to vacate their homes and to go seek shelter to where they'll be safe. And so that's another testimony to a dress rehearsal that we don't want to have again.
Right, right. Well, Mayor Tom, thank you so much for being with us this morning, again, for getting up and talking with us and letting us know where we are at this point. So we appreciate all that you do and all, of course, that the city does to keep us straight.
Well, thank you for having me. And just let me remind you one more time, a brush and debris, just put it out like you ordinarily do, but be sure and separate your brush from your debris.
Yes, sir.
Be sure it's on the curb, and Public Works will pick it up. That's in the city on it. Thank you, folks, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Tom.
Thank you, Mayor Tom Rowland. And and of course that's the thing, being prepared for any emergency, whatever that may be. And I guess now we are, after what happened 10 months ago, and then Friday, we're ready, and we're ready.
Joe, Tom mentioned that all of Cleveland utilities, with the exception of those who they can't get power back on because there's damages to power boxes or things like that. But he mentioned Volunteer Electric. And the last number that we have is that there's still 275 in Bradley County who are volunteer energy.
Yes.
It used to be volunteer
Yes,
electric.
right.
But volunteer energy customers that are still without power, but they're working very hard at getting that solved, and hopefully they'll be back online today.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing too. As he said, we failed to not that we failed to. We probably don't give them enough credit, but Cleveland Utilities and Volunteer Energy, for their guys working as diligently as they are to get power back on. And Cleveland Utilities, as he said, I guess Friday night they had everybody back on that was lost, and the ones that are from Volunteer Energy that are not are in places obviously where it's taking a little bit more to get the power up to them. But you're right. I believe today probably it.
My neighborhood lost power on Friday, and the crews were out there almost immediately working on restoring power, and I think we probably had our power back on by about 6:30 in the neighborhood. So they and you know, we had a cell that was coming through around 6 or 6:30 or 7, so they were doing their best to get it on as quickly as possible, because they knew that folks wanted their electricity back on so they could continue to better monitor what's coming later.
And at that particular cell, I believe that's the cell that was possibly going to produce the baseball-size hail. And these guys were out in that trying to, so it's a wonderful thing. And before we go any further, I want to give some credit too that, unfortunately we couldn't have him on this morning because, as we talked about, he's got another thing he's doing, but we want to give credit to Mix 104.1 locally for keeping everybody informed. I know at one point I left to take my truck and put it underneath the bank drive-through so the hail wouldn't get to it, and I sat in the truck and listened to Steve and Eddie and all the great folks, and Bridget at Mix 104.1, who did a wonderful job in keeping everybody informed. So if you're unable to see television and see the weather and the radar that were on either the major networks, you were able to listen to Mix 104.1 and find out what's going on.
And my understanding was this tornado that came our direction hit the Candies Lane evening.
Yes, it did.
Evening side, is that correct? Area down there, and then went over Mountain View Inn.
It did.
And of course, Steve's station is up there, and then landed down around Cleveland State, where we're at right now. We see the trees down here, and they were still more concerned with informing the public of what was going on than their own safety, which, you know, in a way that makes them emergency personnel as well.
Definitely. And the wonderful thing is their prayers that were offered up, along with some that we had from our side, helped us as well, because our transmitter and tower site is up there behind the Holiday Mountain View Inn as well, right next to them. And it did pass us over. I went up to the tower site probably 6 or 7 times Friday, making sure everything was right. We were off the air, back on, off the air, back on, thinking that maybe it was our dish hit or our antenna hit, but it did pass over. And it was scary how that happened, how it kind of just dotted areas and missed certain areas, which
and you would have thought, because the tower is the highest thing in the whole county, you know, up there, and it was spared. So we were very, very blessed. Very blessed. Just Joe had a few tears.
A few tears and anxiety moments.
Anxiety.
We
like,
got over that.
because we were off the air a couple of times, but you know, we were very, very blessed. Very
Right.
blessed.
Well, we do have Chief Dewey Woody in the house, and we're going to talk with Chief Woody, and we still have some more phone calls to make with Troy Spence, Dan Howell, Randy Bonner. We're going to be back with more of this special edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning with Chief Dewey Woody. After this, please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Brittany Jackson. Join me every Wednesday night at 6:30 and midnight where we will highlight local sports, chat with coaches, and discover new tips every week. Only on In the Spotlight with Brittany Jackson.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Ford, board certified in anti-aging medicine and pain management. Have you had recent decrease in energy, lack of sex drive, feel moody, grumpy, or sad? If so, you may have low testosterone and be a candidate for bioidentical hormone replacement. Listen to what two of my patients have to say.
Before I came to the Ford Clinic, I had to have a nap every day.
When I got off work, I'd lay around, really didn't want to do much, and felt real lazy.
I've noticed since I had the testosterone implant that I could go a good 8 hours doing the things I enjoy doing.
I had it done, it took about 25, 30 minutes, 5 months, and I'm doing good. My stomach, my muscles, they've completely changed. My fat level has dropped. Get to go out and run, exercise with my son. My muscles are just getting stronger.
If you'd like to change your life, please call me at Ford Center for Pain Management and Anti-Aging Medicine at 423-400-9115.
Very simple process, and it's well worth it.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gupta, and I'd like to introduce you to a valuable new healthcare solution here in Cleveland. Hyperbaric Services of East Tennessee is now open and accepting patients. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is an incredible treatment clinically tested for a variety of physical and neurologic conditions, including autism, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, migraine headaches, chronic fatigue syndrome, and even sports injuries and sprains. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a simple, safe, and painless process that raises a patient's oxygen level in the body. This increased oxygen level in our tissues and organs boosts the body's natural healing abilities and allows our bodies to function at a higher level. We will be happy to work in cooperation with your regular physician. However, referral is not required for this treatment. So whether you're dealing with a weekend injury, a chronic medical condition, or looking for anti-aging solutions, you owe it to yourself to explore what hyperbaric oxygen treatment can do for you or your loved ones. I invite you to contact us today for some more information.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Welcome back to this special edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. As you can see, we are now joined by Bradley County Fire Chief Dewey Woody. We're going to talk with Chief Woody in just a few moments and find out his perspective of what happened here, the devastation that happened Friday, and of course what we've been doing over the weekend. What we do have on the line right now, CBC EMA Director Troy Spence is on the line. And Troy, we thank you for being with us so early this morning. We want to talk to you a little bit about exactly where we go from here. Of course, we're, as we said, 3 days removed from the devastation. Where do we go from here, and what's the city and the county doing is preparing us from what we need to do at this point on?
Okay, right now what we're currently doing is we're getting all of our paperwork together for TEMA. We think that for sure we're probably going to hit the numbers for individual assistance, and what that means is if we get declared for a disaster, for individual assistance, FEMA will come in and they'll try to relieve the individuals for their damage to their homes, and we're working on our numbers for the public assistance, which that's what we do on the government side. And what we do there is if we expended quite a bit of money for like utilities. It looks like that we did expend quite a bit of money for those. We'll also be able to reimburse any of the other responding government agencies that responded during the tornado event. So we're working pretty hard trying to compile those numbers to, get the relief from the federal government rather than the local tax dollars.
Right, exactly.
Something a little bit different this time than last time.
Yeah.
We don't know if we're going to qualify, so I mean the debris removal is something that probably the city and the counties, the county's probably not going to do with the city. They do that as a regular service to their to the citizens. So we're not going to at this time start telling the citizens to pile their brush on the side of the road because we don't know if the federal government's going to do that, and the city and the county's probably not going to take that on as 100% payment from the city and the county to clean that up.
Right, right. Well, we just talked with Mayor Rowland just a few moments ago, and he did mention that the city will, of course, be picking up the debris as they do, as you just mentioned. But we're unsure whether that's going to happen with the county because of the funding. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. That's correct. But we did get the permit lifted, the burning permit. So in the county, they can burn the brush and the trees.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And Troy, as we were talking with Mayor Rowland, of course, you were there in the war room, all of this going on. In your perspective of everything that happened, what do you feel we learned 10 months ago that really helped us immensely Friday?
Well, we were already ready with our long-term recovery. Our volunteers with the Bradley Baptist Association, the other religious organizations, I mean, they were ready. They said that they would start Saturday morning with helping clear brush, and this was organized. It wasn't just thrown together. They were ready to go out as an organized team and start helping the citizens clear the brush and tarp the roofs. So that definitely was in place, and we're thankful that we did that last year, and it was ready to go this year. And we hate to think that we're getting good at something like that, but I'm glad that we're at least ready for it when the need arises.
Yeah, and you guys, of course, did a wonderful job in letting people know, and I kind of think that's probably the reason why our state was spared. As we talked about, every state around our area that was affected by the storms had some fatalities, and thank God we had none in the state of Tennessee, which it's amazing in itself. But I think a lot of that is the preparedness from what we learned and what we put into place for this past weekend.
Yeah, one thing we had this year that we didn't have last year is our the Nixle alerting system that we have in place, and we send out those alerts to the public through their text on their cell phones, and that's something that I'm really proud of. A lot of communities pay anywhere from $50,000 or more $1,000 a year, up to probably $100,000 to have a reverse 911, and this is kind of like that, but it's free to the citizens. And we started out, I think we had like a little over 800 the morning, Friday morning, and I think by Friday evening we had about 3,600. So
wow,
that's something that we can send a message right to people's cell phone. We're under tornado warning. Tune to the radio, TV, and see what's going on.
Now, Troy, if you will, could you give us, for the folks that haven't heard, could you give us what they need to text to where they can get these weather alerts on their cell phone as you guys put them out at a moment's notice? Could you give us what that is?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to sign up. I mean, you can go to the Nixle website, NIXLE, and sign up, and it'll prompt you on your zip code and all that to get you into the right thing. Or some people that don't have the internet, that only have a regular cell phone that can't get text, just text CBC EMA, that's Cleveland Bradley County EMA, is what that stands for, to 888-777, and you're signed up, and immediately you'll start getting any of the texts that we send out.
And that was a big help Friday. I know I had it on my phone, and just getting the updates, and it helped everyone that had it. Of course, I was listening to, as we said, Mix 104.1, and the guys there had it on their phones, and they were able to keep everybody updated as well that maybe didn't have that put on their phone. Well, Troy, we appreciate you getting up this morning, and I know you've been up because you've got a lot on your plate as today rolls on, but I appreciate you talking with us this morning and kind of updating us on where we are. And we, of course, thank you for all the work you do and all the guys that work with you and the volunteers and everything. You do a wonderful job, and the preparedness from 10 months ago did help us, I believe, Friday, not having any fatalities and keeping things in order as well as we've been able to do. So we appreciate you.
I agree with you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much, Troy. All right, Troy Spence, Cleveland Bradley County EMA Director, and Dewey, I know you were part of it too, and what happened and where we went from that point. And we learned a lot from 10 months ago. As he said, there's something you don't want to be good at, but I think it's helped us, and hopefully there'll be a lull between what happened Friday and it happening again. But we are prepared now, I believe, and were.
I think we were prepared 10 months ago. You don't get to exercise the skill set that happens quite often. You say you don't want to be good at it. We have to be good at it.
Right.
To be able to exercise our jobs and do things. And I'm proud of all of our emergency service workers. They were able to kick right in and didn't miss a beat, and everybody was able to go right to task. One thing that we got better at, and both the mayor and Director Spence had mentioned this, is our ability to manage groups of volunteers that come in and help our citizens. Mm-hmm. One thing our community shine, and a lot of other communities shines when things like this occurs, is neighbor helping neighbor.
Right.
We were able to organize that much better this go round. We already had some people in place who were ready to do that. Previous 10 months ago, we did an okay job, but we were better at that this time.
Yeah. Now, we were kind of torn between showing some footage here today and not showing footage. And I've got a little bit of a problem with that. I know the public needs to know. People want to see the devastation. On the other hand, those folks that were affected, it's almost like rubbernecking at a traffic accident. There's only so much you want to see, and there's only so much maybe they want you to see of their situation. And I do know last time when this happened and we went around, people that were hit and people were driving through just gawking and looking. Some people were news crews trying to take footage, but the people that were affected, rightfully so, were a little offended in some cases and would stare back like, what are you looking at? So I was torn between whether or not we should have the footage. I know we weren't hit as hard, and we talk about that, but again, you tell those folks that were hit, like we talked about, it wasn't as bad. Oh, it was for me. But there's a thin line there. And I guess letting the folks that are watching here know, stay away from the areas so the authorities can do the work they need to do. There's no need to go and gawk and look and see devastation. We said it's devastation. Just imagine if you lost everything.
Saturday morning, that's you bring up a great point. One thing I'll mention, and that the people just coming to look really hamper efforts.
Yeah.
And that is very tough. Saturday morning, I was doing a quick run through before we went back to the EOC, and when I went back to the EOC, one of the things I had noticed, and we were able to get it, help get it resolved, is we had some workers. Bradley County Road Department was trying to clear Tassel Lane, and there were so many people wanting to go look that they were having trouble with merely getting their job done. The faster they got the job done, the road would have been open faster, but we had so many people wanting to go look, it was hampering them from doing their job. I met with the Sheriff's Department when I got back to the EOC. Our decision was, and their decision was, to go up there and to shut the road down permanently until they could get that road cleared. And the thing was coming from people who didn't live there and who wanted to go look, because people who were living there were working.
Yeah.
They were trying to get things cleared up. So there's a lot of things that go on with stuff like that. I want to make a comment about what you said about seeing. I have mixed emotions there about seeing. I did go back Saturday morning. We took some pictures where we had a lady trapped in a structure. I didn't get out of my car and start taking pictures. I went to the homeowner. He knows me. Even though I know him, out of respect for him, I said, will you allow me to take a couple pictures and show where our victim was trapped yesterday? He said, by all means. I would probably be offended if someone was taking pictures of my stuff from the road. So I think that's a fine line, just like you said. It's a fine line in respecting those people's privacy because they have had their worlds turned upside down.
Yeah.
But the other side of the coin is we all are getting a new respect for weather. And when you see what weather has the ability to do, I think we learn from that and we take heed. And when these warnings come out, we're very cognizant of the warnings and we do take cover. I had a firefighter. I was talking to a couple firefighters on Saturday morning, and one of them looked at me and he said, you know, in years past, I've worked in this business and I know what weather has done. He said, but these 2 times in 10 months have really changed my mindset as to what we do when this weather's coming. And what I do personally if I'm not at work and have to protect the public is I ensure that I get my family hunkered down, covered, secure, those kind of things.
Right, right. And of course that's the key, you know, is staying safe. If you were able to watch, if you had power, able to watch some of the major networks, or you listened to the radio, that was the main point of each meteorologist or the guys that were on the radio talking. Stay safe and trying to look at an area that's just been hit or trying to get pictures, whether it's to upload on YouTube or send your cell phone pictures somewhere. That was dangerous in itself. I mean, staying safe is the key, and that's what, and really it does hamper not just the efforts of trying to get areas clean up, but the authorities trying to keep people safe. If you get out of your home and they're trying to keep an area secure and keep it safe, and you're out riding around, they have to worry about that area and you too. So it's, and I guess maybe we have learned that maybe we didn't have as much rubbernecking as we did.
I don't think we did.
10 months ago.
Don't think we did 10 months ago.
Dewey, you mentioned that you had one person that you had to help get out of their home that was trapped. Any numbers that we have of entrapments or anything like that?
We had 2 entrapments that were pretty serious and critical, where structures had come apart during the storm, and one lady was underneath a house in a crawl space. She had been sitting in the living room and tried to move to the center of the house where a closet was. When the storm came, literally picked the house up, separated things. She was dropped into a crawl space and the house back on top of her. That was probably a 20-minute ordeal to get her out. The next day she was safe. She had minor injuries, thank the Lord, and was able to recover from that. And several others that we had that people did self-extrication, meaning they were able to get themselves out prior to us getting there, or people around them, family members, or just people who come to their aid faster than emergency services could get there. So we had 2 very critical entrapments, but people were able to get out of that.
And your station out on Tasso Road was very near where we had some touchdowns. Is everything okay with that?
Yes, we had some minor damage to that station, but they were out doing their job quickly, as well as everybody else in this business.
Wow. And again, just a tremendous effort by all the authorities in keeping the area policed, and now we're in the process of relief and getting things back to normal again, so to speak. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to try to talk to Dan Howell, the Executive Assistant to County Mayor Gary Davis, when we get back from this break on this special edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning. Please stay tuned.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Hi, I'm Brittany Jackson. Join me every Wednesday night at 6:30 and midnight, where we will highlight local sports, chat with coaches, and discover new tips every week. Only on In the Spotlight with Brittany Jackson.
Hyperbaric Services of East Tennessee is now open in Cleveland. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is an incredible treatment, clinically tested for a variety of physical and neurologic conditions, including autism, migraine headaches, even sprains and injuries. It is a simple, safe, and painless process that raises a patient's oxygen level, providing an array of health benefits. So whether you're dealing with a weekend sports injury, chronic condition, or looking for anti-aging, you owe it to yourself to explore what hyperbaric services can do for you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Ford, board certified in anti-aging medicine and pain management. Have you had recent decrease in energy, lack of sex drive, feel moody, grumpy, or sad? If so, you may have low testosterone and be a candidate for bioidentical hormone replacement. Listen to what two of my patients have to say.
Before I came to the Ford Clinic, I had to have a nap every day.
When I got off work, I'd lay around, really didn't want to do much and felt real lazy.
I've noticed since I had the testosterone implant that I can go a good 8 hours doing the things I enjoy doing.
I had it done, it took about 25-30 minutes, 5 months, and I'm doing good. My stomach.
Oh.
Welcome back, Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. Joe and Kim Palo. Kim has joined us again here, and we appreciate Bradley County Fire Chief Dewey Woody for coming by and talking to us a few minutes here. And some great, as you can tell, we have some great folks here working, our city and county officials and the authorities that keep everything, putting it back in order, I should say. And finding more out about that, we do have on the line right now Dan Howell, who's the executive assistant to County Mayor Gary Davis. And Dan, I know you were in the war room. I know you were sending out press releases from the moment the storms hit Friday all through the weekend. If you will, update the folks watching. First of all, thank you for being with us this morning. But
glad to be here, Joe.
Update the folks.
Early. I've not had my first cup of coffee yet.
I'm telling you, it is early, and I know you probably got a big day in store for you. But if you will, update us on where we are right now and what we're looking at.
Well, things are getting back to normal. In fact, they began to get back to normal over the weekend. Saturday afternoon, we had an update meeting, debriefing at noon on Saturday, and the department heads, you've already talked to Chief Woody and other department heads, but they indicated that they were back a standard operating procedure at that point. So it's just a matter of those unfortunate folks who were in the line of fire, cleaning up the mess that was left behind. And of course, I'm sure the long-term recovery organization will step up as they've done from the previous storm and see what assistance is needed. And at this point, we have to gather the numbers to see if we meet the threshold for some kind of federal disaster assistance. We're not sure yet, but as the numbers come in from across the state of Tennessee, they pile those numbers and they send them into the federal government as a collective amount. So we don't know if we'll meet that threshold or not. Of course, there was no question about it in April, but this time, fortunately, we weren't impacted quite as bad. I don't know if you've had a chance, Joe, or I think Alan's there too, aren't you, Alan?
Mm-hmm, yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Oh. I don't know if either of you have had a chance to get out and drive through some of the areas. I drove around Saturday afternoon after the meeting. By the way, I had a really good view Saturday morning. I went with the mayor and we did a flyover of some of the devastated areas, and I was able to take some aerial photos, which, by the way, we will post on the Bradley County website at bradleyco.net if you want to see some of those aerials. But the areas, even though we weren't hit as bad, the areas that were hit were devastated.
Yes.
And those folks are going to need a lot of help digging out. But Saturday afternoon, drove through some of the areas and actually went down I-75, came back up exit 11 there, came up Mayhem Gap Road, which turns into Harrison Pike. Mm-hmm. There where the old countryside cafe is. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of followed that road for quite a while. And Mayhem Gap Road, a lot of damage there. Houses heavily damaged. It looked like a few just across the Hamilton County line were destroyed. Came on into Bradley County, and it followed Harrison Pike and just missed Mount Olive Church of God by a few hundred yards. And the trees, it's heavily wooded out there. The trees were just laying over like toothpicks had been blown over in the wind. And it just was sad to see all that vegetation destroyed like that. And then just a few blocks from Mount Olive, there were several houses that were damaged. And then it kind of made a curve, and it skipped through town. Apparently it went up in the air and then came back down. And it hit again in the Hopewell area. And along Candy's Drive, there by the old golf course, there was at least one house destroyed in that area, and bunches of houses from the air. You could see several houses were impacted, and blue tarps everywhere from the air. And then it seemed to kind of rise, and it began to settle back down up close to the Bradley Square Mall, and they had some window damage, but it didn't damage the facility, I don't believe. But then it really hit there at the Builders Depot. Do you know where the golf course is? The
driving range?
Putt golf course? Well, then it came back down there. And it did heavy damage to the Builders Depot across the street from the Putt golf course.
Right.
And knocked out one wall. I believe Rob Renner owns that building where Lowe's Lighting Gallery is, and I think Builders Depot's on the other end of that little strip mall. It did a lot of damage there, and there were some houses around that area that were heavily damaged. And then apparently, just from looking at it from the air, apparently it went back up in the air and came back down over on Jenkins Road in that area where Ross Tarver lives,
Right,
and it
Ross and
just
Holly.
obliterated Ross's house. I felt so bad for him. Of course, many of us know who Ross is, and very involved in the community. He's the chairman of the Industrial Development Board. He was very instrumental in working with Mayor Davis and getting Vocker to make their decision about locating in Bradley County, and it was just really sad to see his house just completely destroyed.
And his wife and children were there. I think they said that the wife and children were home when the tornado hit.
Yeah. After we landed, I drove over to Jenkins Road just to check things out and see if I could pay my respects and everything and see if he needed anything. But fortunately, it looked like he had oodles and oodles of volunteer help. There were cars and trucks and chainsaws, and there were people running everywhere, and Ross obviously very, very well cared for, and we appreciate the community turning out to help him. But in looking at the house, I think the reason that we're thankful that his family is safe, but probably one reason they were is because the lower section of the house, I understand, was poured concrete. And that's the only thing left standing. Everything else is gone. But had that been any other kind of building material, it probably would have been flattened completely, and could have been some serious injuries there. And then it kind of bounced up from there again and went on over to Old Chattanooga Road. And there were several farms impacted, farm buildings, barns destroyed. There was one house that was flattened there on Old Chattanooga Road. It was about a mile south, you know where Belfont Road intersects with Old Chattanooga Road. If you're at that intersection, you just go south about a mile and you'll see them on the left and right of the road, and there's some heavy damage out there. And then from there it seemed to lift up and go on out of the northeast part of the county and into Meigs County. I haven't, not Meigs County, McMinn County. And I haven't heard from there what kind of damage they may have suffered in McMinn, but I do know that they had some storm warnings out as well.
Right.
So when we got the final tally, Joe and Alan, on Kim's there too. Sorry, Kim, didn't mean.
It's all right, Dan. Poor me.
When we got the final tally at noon on Saturday, I believe they said that there were 6 houses totally destroyed, about 13 that suffered major damage, and then there were another 18 or 20, something like that, that had moderate damage. And then the houses that were affected by the storm, shingles blown off and
Right.
siding ripped off, things like that, total of, I think, 87. So it was about $2.1 million at last count. And, of course, the assessment teams can't get to everything and everybody as they go out and hurriedly make this assessment. So we've given people the phone number and asked them to call in and let us know if they have damage so that we can check it against our list. And the reason this list is important is because we have to do a tally report to TEMA, who reports to FEMA, and then they make a determination
Right.
if we qualify for federal aid. So that number is 728-7289. That's at the EMA office.
728.
And they're probably there soon.
728-7289.
Yeah, 728-7289.
Well,
But we kind of dodged the bullet. Thank God we have sunshine this morning.
yes, yes. And hopefully it'll be, like we said, a long lull between what happened Friday and it happening again. But
I know. We were kind of joking yesterday. We thought, we've escaped the worst, and now we can cruise on into spring. And someone said, well, wait a minute. It's just the 1st of March. Remember
Right.
March 23rd, 1993?
right, exactly.
We could have a snowstorm.
We sure
Yeah,
can.
who
I
knows?
remember back when we had one the first week in April.
Right, as we were saying, 93.
I know.
I know,
So-
we had snow, so
Well-
who knows?
Well, Dan, we appreciate you talking with us this morning. We want to give a call to Randy Bonner of the Bradley Baptist Association and get some numbers there for folks that can help and what they may be able to do. But we appreciate you and all that you do and all the work that you've put in over the weekend and all the folks that have helped you. We just appreciate you guys staying on top of things and keeping us all straight, and, of course, the information you gave us this morning.
Well, it's a team effort, Joe. Appreciate you guys helping us get the word out.
Thank you so much,
Go get you a
Dan.
cup of coffee,
Yeah,
Dan.
get your cup of
I'm
coffee.
going to do that right now.
Okay.
And have a good day today,
Bye.
buddy.
All
Thanks,
right,
Dan.
bye, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be back and talk with Randy Bonner of the Bradley Baptist Association, find out how you can help right after this. Please stay tuned.
I don't think you've got time, honey. It's 7:28.
Well, we're going to call
We've
Randy
only got
right
2
here.
minutes left. I think the breaks are 5 minutes. I
I
think right. The breaks are like 4 or 5 minutes, so we're going to be gone in 2 minutes.
Well, we're going to get Randy on the phone real quick right here now.
Or we could give his number out.
Live television.
That's
Live
right.
television,
Live
that's fine. We've
television.
got a
Alan's got
couple
all
of minutes.
kinds of numbers to give out.
See if we can catch Randy.
Well, let's see if he was right there.
If not,
Right here,
Right.
live television.
I mean, Alan's
Give him a call.
got
Randy.
Quick!
Yes.
Hey, man, it's Joe Palo with Tennessee Valley This Morning. We called you live on the air. We were going to take a break, but I don't know if we have time. Real quick, man, we've had a built-in show, bang-up show here. We've had a lot of folks we've been talking to, but we want to get real quick information from you, a phone number, and how folks watching can help in helping us get these relief efforts going. So if you can give us a phone number, first of all, thank you for being with us on short notice.
You got 1 minute. Go.
But give us a phone number, if you will, Randy.
Our phone number is 476-5493, and that's to the Bradley Baptist Association. If anybody needs cleanup crews, chainsaw crews, tarps, give us a call today. If anybody wants to volunteer and you have some chainsaw equipment, or you have some helping hands, or you have some bobcat, tractor type equipment, give us a call as well. We're at 2707 North Coley Street, and you can call us from 8 o'clock a.m. till about 5 p.m. today.
Okay, and that's for anybody that can help in any way possible, whether it be with chainsaws, donations, things like that you need?
Well, the biggest thing we need right now would be, the people have responded so well this weekend, but the biggest thing would be for folks that have equipment, chainsaw, the likes of that. A lot of work has already been taken care of, which we're very, very pleased with. But we know we'll get some calls today for teams to go out to.
Yeah. Now, Randy, what's that phone number again, real quick?
It's 476-5493.
476-5493. If anyone out there can help with some manual power, you know, whether it be with you got chainsaws,
you got a strong back and you got
equipment. Yeah, give Randy a call. Randy, we thank you for everything you folks do at the Bradley Baptist Association. You're a tremendous asset to this community, and we appreciate you talking with us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Now
Randy
that's
Bonner.
also if you need help. If
Yes.
you need help, if you need wood cleared or debris,
Well, I think if
whatever.
you need help, they want you to contact the EMA.
The EMA.
Oh, the
So
EMA,
that would
I'm
be
sorry. I'll just
728
sit right here.
7289.
Mind my business.
8-9, right. That's fine. But we do want to thank, of course, Alan for letting us jump in this morning on the regular scheduled morning show to talk to you about this special edition and update you a little bit about what happened and where we go from here. Remember, folks, stay out of those, the way out of those areas so the authorities can get the things cleaned up, get folks help that need help, and not have to worry about you kind of going through there just rubbernecking. If you've got, if you can help or you want to volunteer, that's great. Please do so. But other than that, let the authorities take care of business as they see fit. I want to thank my wife Kim. Thank Alan Mincy. Thank you for watching. Remember, today at noon, the regular scheduled show for this Monday morning will be on.
It's a great show.
It is a great show, so watch that.
Great show.
And
So watch
thank you,
Alan
Mayor
at
Tom
noon.
Rowland, Dewey Woody, Bradley County Fire Chief, Troy Spence, Dan Howell, and Randy Bonner. We'll see you Wednesday morning on Tennessee Valley This Morning for Joe and Kim. Have yourself a very good day.